All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. We are here today. It is Tuesday. Oil has stabilized a little bit over the last 24 hours after President and G7 said that we could be close to the war being over. He also said this morning on Fox News that it's possible he could talk to Iran. You know, whether you believe him is a different story, but that is what we're hearing right now. Oil has stabilized all the way down to under $90 a barrel for WTI, West Texas Intermediate crude. The NASDAQ over the last few minutes has dropped down to around 25,000. We do have an ADP jobs report this morning at 8:15 market time. And yeah, oil has stabilized, but it's kind of whipsawing. We're making big moves up and down here in oil. The president tweeted this yesterday. He said, quote, "If Iran does anything that stops the flow of oil within the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the U.S. 20 times harder than they've been hit so far. Additionally, we would take out easily destroyable targets that will make it virtually impossible for Iran to ever be built back as a nation. But I hope and pray that it does not happen. This is a gift from the U.S. of America to China and to all the nations that heavily use the Strait of Hormuz. Hopefully, it is a gesture that will be greatly appreciated. Thank you for your attention to this matter, U.S. President Donald Trump." So that came out yesterday. I don't know if that's necessarily easing the oil fears, but oil is down today after the president did signal yesterday we could be close to this conflict ending. He said it could be a limited conflict. Let's find the actual quote. But yeah. Hey, good morning. What's up, Chef? Big slum. Big rug pull incoming? Oof, I don't know. We'll see. I hope not. I hope we don't rug pull. I mean, it's possible, though. I mean, anything's possible right now. There's a lot of volatility in everything. The last couple months have honestly been kind of crazy. We've had silver and gold running up massive amounts. We've had oil spike and then come back down. We've had the NASDAQ dip, and the NASDAQ sitting right at 25,000, right at the volume weighted average price. One of my favorite levels here. And yeah, essentially, again, guys, what we're getting here is some stabilization. President says it's possible he could talk to Iran on the news just now. So the president is speaking right now. Yeah, but the president basically trying to calm the oil spike by saying the Iran war was nearly done. Oil will come back down, and he's willing to ease sanctions and escort tankers while still threatening retaliation if they continue to block the Strait of Hormuz. On CBS yesterday, he said the war was, quote, very complete pretty much, and said it would end, quote, very soon, adding that oil prices would, quote, drop rapidly when the destruction of the nuclear threat is over, and that the current spike is, quote, a very small price to pay for USA and world safety and peace. At his news conference, he said, we're looking to keep the oil prices down. They went artificially up because of this excursion, and he said he plans to waive some oil-related sanctions and, quote, have the U.S. Navy escort tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. And again, we have the jobs report going live today at 8:15. Now, this is after the last job report was really, really weak. Yeah, the last jobs report, very weak. And we have ADP. ADP data has not been the most accurate. The last jobs report should have been negative 92,000. So we're going to do a poll this morning. Are you bullish or bearish on today's market? Yeah, we do have Oracle earnings today. Let's take a look at the Bag 7. Here's Oracle. Not the Bag 7, but we'll look at it anyway. 153s is up a little bit. We have Netflix up slightly. AMD is at 202s. Nvidia back to 180s after being in the 170s for at least a couple days here. Yeah, the NASDAQ, if we take a look at it here, 25,000. I almost bought this dip just now, but look at this V-shaped recovery yesterday. So we did essentially a V-shaped recovery all day yesterday. Look at this price action. Extremely bearish. If the market trends up, I'll take trades. Yeah, look at this V-shape. We hit 24,000 even. Rebounded all the way back to 25,000 where we're sitting now. Tapped 24,000 even. Popped back. Top of the morning. Will you add to Oracle if it misses? Probably not, to be honest here. I'd love to say I would, but probably not. Oracle is not one of those ones that I have the utmost confidence in long term. GTC is next week, Chris. So GTC is coming up for NVIDIA. It's next week. So next week we do have GTC data. We also had experts at China Institute warning of open clause safety risk according to CCTV. Kohl's reported earnings this morning. They posted 107 versus 86 cents expected. And tomorrow we have CPI inflation. So today we have ADP data, small weekly jobs report. Tomorrow we do have CPI inflation data, which is probably the biggest release of the week. We did have news that Iran notes an explosion of an oil tanker near Abu Dhabi, according to the Iranian press. And again, U.S. national debt is projected to increase by $2.4 trillion annually over the next decade, per the CBO. Citigroup also raises its 2026-2030 global AI CapEx forecast to $8.9 trillion from $8 trillion last time. And then we had the president did say it's possible I could talk to Iran. Iran's foreign minister came out this morning and calls with Turkish counterparts said that Tehran never launched projectiles to Turkey and calls for vigilance. Does this rally hold here? I did a poll. 54% are bullish today out of a few votes so far. 46% are bearish. 54% bullish, 46% bearish. We also have to look at yields this morning. I think ahead of CPI inflation data, CPI inflation is something that can move these. Inflation coming in hotter than expected will push yields higher and vice versa. Currently, yields have fallen down a little bit after some stabilization yesterday. Yields are currently sitting at 4.125% right now, 4.125. We also had Israel's prime minister says that he does not know how long the campaign will last, adds that, quote, "It's not that I know and I'm not telling you." We also had India reportedly worried that soybean and sunflower oil shipments could be delayed by the Middle East conflict. Yeah, and UK MTO says it received a report of an incident 36 north of UAE's Abu Dhabi. We also have Kane, which is U.S. General, and U.S. War Secretary Hegseth. They're going to hold a press conference at 8 o'clock this morning. So they're going to be speaking later on today as well. In about 35 minutes here, really. What's up, Blaze, Demetrius, Clint, Thug, Pawn, R, Chris, Chavo, Speech, Kai, K, E, George, Bam Bam, Savage, Altruism, Jonathan, Big Slum, Cash. Good morning, guys. Billy, what's up, man? Solar should spike. We'll see. We'll see. But again, just to summarize everything going on right now. All right. Oil ripped towards 115 to 120 after the weekend. They called it oil panic, and then a relief rally is essentially what we got. If we take a look at oil here, oil stabilized some. It was at 120s. It's now at under 190s or under 90s. It's at 87s right now. So oil has stabilized. Oil spiked originally because we had news of a couple different things. We had news that the Strait of Hormuz was effectively closed and there were more strikes that happened over the weekend. Now we are in a situation where, you know, number one, there's rumors of them releasing strategic oil reserves to kind of calm output worries. That's number one. That stabilized the price of oil. And again, then we had the president come out yesterday saying that he thinks this conflict will end soon. So all of that kind of stabilized oil into today, ahead of CPI inflation data, jobless claims, and trade data Thursday. But the core narrative is unchanged. Strait of Hormuz flows and Gulf infrastructure are still under threat and effectively closed. Oil is still a key macro driver. And crude's still holding a lot of its gains that it's made here, but it gave back the weekend gains. Like, crude is still at almost $90. It was at 50 something, just to put this in perspective, a couple months ago. It was at 58, 57, 55, 56 a couple months ago. And then today it's at 87 still. Went as high as 120s because of this conflict. So again, Trump told reporters the campaign against Iran was very far along and pretty much complete, is what stabilized oil. So ahead of ADP jobs data in about 45 minutes. We'll see if we get any movement here. Yeah, I can take a look at some stocks. I don't know if ADP's report is going to have any influence over markets. We had the bad jobs report on Friday, and that did move markets. So we'll see if today's much smaller weekly employment report moves anything, but we'll watch it. We'll see. Yeah, we had daylight savings time on Sunday this past week, which means we lost an hour. So if you're like, hey, John, I can feel it because it's still dark outside where I live, right? Everything's still dark. And so if you're not in the United States and you're like, why is he starting an hour earlier? I'm not. It's daylight savings time. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to start this early. Now this is just 7 o'clock. It's 7:30 market time right now in the US. Looking at our poll, 59% bullish, almost 60-40 bullish. Dude, I'm up. I've had coffee. I'm awake. Everybody keeps saying good morning, Chef. Where's Chef? Is Chef there? I don't see Chef. Where's he at? Oh, there he is. Sorry, dude. I see you. You remember, I should see you. Yeah, we got ADP's job report today. We got Trump saying the conflict could end soon. And then we have potential strikes around Abu Dhabi. Is really the big three, I would say, influencing things. Qatar said it intercepted an attack. Citigroup raises AI CapEx though, so we'll see if that holds. But yeah, I mean, I'm up, you know. The hardest part is nighttime. Are you guys trading oil? Oil is basically stabilized right here though. Look at oil. It's at $88 a barrel here. And again, we got ADP's job report. We'll put a timer up. Let me get my timer going here. All right, so yeah, we're gonna get our timer up here. What is this? This is in like 43.5 minutes. Just about. Yeah, just about. We'll leave that like that. We'll put this up. I'm gonna stick it right here next to me. I'm gonna put it right here. There we go. John, can you see where your audience is from? Where are you guys from, chat? List where you guys are from. Let me know. That's a good question. I say good morning, Chef, to you, since you're the cook of Wall Street. Vietnam? I have some Vietnam friends. Canada, Boston, Minnesota, Toronto, North Carolina, Australia, London, Maine, Australia, Chicago. Abu Dhabi, Crowley, Louisiana. Hey, what's up, Chad? My Louisianian friend. What's up, dude? Krusty Krab. That's good. South Florida, Los Angeles, cool. Boston, Portugal. Nice. Yeah, Texas. A Texas friend. Alabama? Ugh, dude, I mean, as a Louisianian, go Tigers, but it's all right. I appreciate you being here still. Scotland. Wisconsin, Jersey, Romania, Austin. I was in Austin a couple weeks ago. It was nice. Franklin's barbecue, dude. I'm still mad about it. I went and sat in line for 45 minutes. The lady comes out and she's like, hey, it's going to be another 2 hours. No food is good enough to wait in line for 3 hours. None. I don't care if Gordon Ramsay cooks it. I'm not waiting in line for 3 hours. Unnecessary, you know. Katy, Texas is actually pretty nice. Yeah, I see Texas, Jacksonville, the Arkansas, Katy, Texas, West Virginia, Swiss. Cool. You need to come to Scotland one day. Nice people, you'll love it. Honestly, Scotland looks beautiful. I'd love to go there, to be honest. You know, my last name's London, so I've always wanted to go to London and give somebody my ID and have them be like, you know, you. Never happened, but yeah. All right. Anyways, guys, NASDAQ is at 25,000. Is this worth buying the dip here? Dude, where's my extra hour? It went away on Sunday, guys. It went away on Sunday. NASDAQ's right at 25,000. I really am thinking about buying this dip. Yeah, I am thinking about buying this dip. All right, guys, let's be serious. Yeah, I'm checking out. I'm going to buy one of these Lucid Direct accounts. Oh, that's what I did wrong. Okay, good. Yeah, sorry, I'm buying one of these Lucid account. Lucid has direct to funding option. You can use my coupon code BT. It's only $288. I'm just gonna use the trade evade option. All right, there we go. It went through. Thank you. Finally, dude. I was trying that all day yesterday. Yeah, 25,000, big psychological level. In this market right now, 25,000 just makes sense to pay attention to. Big psychological whole dollar number. You can see it's bouncing right off of this, and this is a dynamic that you actually see a lot, where psychological levels, where 25,000 just makes sense to pay attention to. Big whole dollar number. No, I'm thinking of Lucid trading. There we go. Any big news? We have ADP's job report going live. Outside of that, the news is still kind of light. But the ADP jobs report goes live at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time today. So Iran is beginning a new wave of strikes on northern Israel, according to TV there. So Iran can another wave of strikes beginning, according to TV there, on northern Israel, apparently. Oil, guys, still stabilizing. We've had some dips and movements here, but Yeah, again, what's calming oil is that the president came out yesterday saying the war is basically over. Pretty much over, is what he said. The exact quotes were, he told CBS that the war is very complete, pretty much. Said it would end very soon, adding that oil prices would, quote, drop rapidly when the threat is over, and that the current spike is, quote, a very small price to pay for USA, world, and safety and peace. He also said we're looking to keep the oil prices down. They went up artificially because of this, and said the plans to waive some oil-related sanctions and have the U.S. Navy escort tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, he basically told markets the war is very complete and will end very soon. Probably. Yeah, he's trying to stabilize the price of oil. I think this is incredibly obvious. He's trying to stabilize the price of oil. As he maybe should be. Again, I'm not hating on it necessarily. I think that's probably what you want to do, is stabilize the price of oil. If anybody's been to the pump lately, you can see some of these prices reflected. Like, I live in Texas right now. Prices have gone to over $3 a gallon. Don't even try to buy 93 octane, dude. I bought 93 octane. It was like $4.60 a gallon right now. Look at that poly market, guys. We can also take a look at poly market. There's a 35% chance we get a ceasefire, according to poly market. But look at some of these bets here. Yeah, 35% chance there's a ceasefire. And I think this is one of the more interesting ones here. Will crude oil, where will crude oil go? 34% chance it's back over 110s, 24% chances back over 120s, 13% chances back over 130s, 10% chances back over 140s, 7% chances over 150s, 4% chance it's over 180s. And this is all by the end of March. At the end of this month, we have essentially 20 days left, 3 weeks. 3% chance it closes over $200 a barrel. That'd be wild. And stuff would have to go down if that happened. Yeah, I was kind of like a tuner person growing up. I had a couple little race imports with VTEC, you know, GSR. VTEC was fun, man. I don't think they still have VTEC. I haven't bought a Honda in a while. I'm sure the technology might have progressed past VTEC, but U.S. imports around 30 to 35% of oil and 65 to 75% of domestic. UK Reef says, of course, keep fuel duty under review. But again, we got news earlier that Iran is beginning a new wave of attacks on northern Israel. VTEC with the win. Valve timing electronic control. VTEC. You love to see it. Isn't VTEC just like a larger cam lobe that opens up to keep the valves open longer? I think that's what the technology was. It stands for valve timing and electronic control. It just keeps the valves open a little bit longer, more air and fuel gets sprayed into it, so it gives you this boost of power at like a certain RPM. I think, what was it? It was like 3,500 RPM, or was it 4,000? I can't remember where it kicked in my car. Do they still use VTEC? I don't know, man. Those S2000s are fun, though. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, guys, I don't know whether this conflict is actually over, but what's stabilizing the price of oil under $90 a barrel now is that quote from him basically saying that it's basically over. So that's what we got going on. We got the jobs report going live in about 30 minutes. About 30 minutes. GT3 still use them. I'm going to ask this question again. We asked it yesterday. When does this conflict end? Yeah, I don't know if, again, this is, okay, ADP does 4 reports on the month. 4 reports. It does 3 weekly reports, which is what we're getting today. We're getting the ADP weekly report. So it's probably going to have less significance than it did last week for the ADP monthly report. Last week, we got the ADP month report. What did it show up as last week for ADP's data here? I think it showed up higher than expected, if I remember correctly, which kind of continues the question mark regarding the disparity that we are seeing in job reports. I think we got it Wednesday last week, right? We got this job report Wednesday. ADP's report on Wednesday showed up at 63,000, stronger than the 50,000 expected. Now, this is, you got to take that context into it, because last week we got the monthly ADP report. And again, it showed up at 63,000, but Friday we got the official government jobs report, non-farm payrolls, unemployment report. Unemployment up to stayed the same at 4.4%, but labor and private payrolls dipped heavily. They showed up at what, 92,000 jobs lost on the month for the official report. Yeah, we showed up at 92,000 negative non-farm payrolls for February. And so I think this jobs report will be interesting today. I don't know how interesting. Look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ breaking under 25. But I'm going to ask this question again. When does this conflict end? But yeah, look at the NASDAQ dipping here. I don't know what this level I have on my charts is right here, but we bounced right at that level, whatever this level I have on my charts is. You see this? I don't know where this level came from, but hey, we stopped there. The Bears are back in town. The Bulls are winning on the poll today. We got a few, like, we got 300 votes so far. 59% say bullish, 41% say bearish. So it ends in September. 2 years, 3 months. Yeah, the news is a little light heading into it. Oil stabilized, though, at least a little bit. Amazon kicking off an 11-part U.S. investment-grade debt offering. That news just came out. The NASDAQ futures did erase earlier gains. They're now essentially flat on the day. The previous closing price is right here. So we're slightly green, but not crazy green. Economists, according to CBS, says 20% of the U.S. job market is highly vulnerable to robots and automation, according to CBS. So again, 20% of U.S. jobs are highly vulnerable to robots and automation. You guys think it's just 20%? I mean, I definitely understand. I don't know. It might be more than that, to be honest. It just depends. The other big news is that Iran is beginning a new wave of strikes, according to TV there on Israel. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. I don't think I've looked at Bitcoin today. Yields are down some this morning. Bitcoin over 70 right now. So Bitcoin did rebound. It's one of the things that is celebrating over the last 24 hours after it saw some stabilization. But we have rebounded all the way back to 70,000 for Bitcoin. We're at 75 now. Bitcoin 80,000 later today. %, but significant. Yeah, 20% is not small. We'll probably calm down around April. Conflict's never going to end. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Get a job in manufacturing if you're worried about being replaced. Wouldn't that be the sector of jobs that you would not want to get involved with? Don't you guys think manufacturing jobs are going to be some of the first to get replaced by robots and automation? Now, who knows how long that's going to take, but I would assume a lot of that is going to get replaced eventually. No? I mean, maybe I'm wrong here. Bitcoin is back to 40,000 by October. But ADP jobs report was March 1st, 4th. Yeah, I mean, you get 4. This is the weekly jobs report. So this one's called the ADP weekly employment report. So you get 3 weekly reports and 1 monthly report for ADP. Basically, you get one every week. I'm just curious to see what this one shows up as with all the stuff going on. AI is trash. Paying that 40K Bitcoin guy. Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious. Do we get more volatility unlocked at the opening bell today? Bitcoin over 70,000. All right, so we did do a direct to funding option here on Lucid today. Oh, well, let me launch it right here. Where's my password? I do use I use AI every day, easily every day. I mean, I work in a sector that's going to use it. Look at NVIDIA dip here, though. So, Chad, look at NVIDIA fall. NVIDIA down under the previous closing prices at 182s right now. So, NVIDIA is dipping down. Who will maintain the maintenance robots? Yeah, I mean, we might have more jobs sprout up in robot manufacturing over time. If and when they become the next big thing. But even haters use AI daily. That's probably true. Not you, guy? And not you, John? Okay, gotcha. Okay, there we go. Got it. Sorry, I'm trying to get into my my direct Lucid account that I just bought. We are in here, guys. We are in here. All right, here's my new fancy Lucid account. Direct to funded option. I'm still watching the NASDAQ here, though. Look at this. NASDAQ just bounced right here off of this previous closing price. So the NQ dish bounced right off of the previous close. Meta hikes fees for advertisers to cover Europe's digital tax. The big story today is obviously the stuff going on overseas, but we do have the CPI report tomorrow. Chancellor Reeve says government will not tolerate price gouging on petrol prices. The UK Chancellor. Here's the volume weighted average price right here, and here's 25,000. And so I do kind of want to short this short term. Correct, Kato. Yeah, it was like 288 bucks. If you use my coupon code BT, it'll give you you can get it for like 288 for the base one. All right, guys. I'm looking at this short here. We're getting close enough to 25,000. But I think we are at, just to put this into perspective, we are on the day ahead of CPI inflation. So it is ahead of CPI inflation. I am going to short this now. 1 micro contract. We'll add a little bit more here too. We'll take 2. Maybe take a little bit, maybe take up to like 4 or 5 here. Might not have time. Need to take a little bit more. Okay, we're in 4. If we dip, about flat still. Might add 1 more, but I'm gonna give it some time. All right, here we green. It's early. I'm gonna lock in half of this just to protect it. We'll hold the rest break even. Very small trade, but I mean, might as well protect. I'll have to scale up a little bit larger size here once I have a cushion. I'm just gonna cut it right here and get out the rest break even. Small green. Yeah, I'm looking at Nvidia right now. Oil still sitting at 89s. Nvidia did dip below the previous closing price, so now Nvidia is technically red on the day. I don't see any breaking news except for the Meta. Meta is hiking fees for advertisers overseas, but yeah, I'm scalping this quickly here. I mean, look, the reason I shorted this on the NASDAQ, just to put this in perspective here, is very easy. Number one, it's the volume weighted average price. So I'm watching the story of this price action, which means we came back down to the previous closing price right here, rebounded exactly off of it, and then we hit the volume weighted average price, which also is 25,000. So we have the VWAP resistance here. We're kind of stacking resistance. We have 25,000 resistance, easy risk levels, and so shorting right around here makes sense, and then looking for it to at least fade back down to whatever this level, red level I have on my chart is. I think that just made sense, and it ended up working out. I mean, we broke down some. But don't get me wrong, I mean, this is a scalp. We're in and out. So even if you're fading me or I'm fading you, you still might be right and I might be right. I mean, I'm out already. So look at that yields though, guys. Yields have fallen back down today. So yields were up to almost or over 4.2% yesterday. They're now at 4.12%. If we take a look at the Fed watch tool here, Fed watch tool still showing 97+% likely that we pause rates this month. Now, tomorrow's CPI inflation data can influence this. So if we show up super high or whatever for inflation, maybe this is going to influence this. %61 bullish today. Yeah, out of 400 votes, 61% are bullish. They're basically betting that the NASDAQ is going to bounce back. Look at that short, though. The volume weighted average price. You love to see that level held. But again, just to summarize the news over the last day. Number one, oil spiked over the weekend on supply worries because the Strait of Hormuz effectively closed. They're attacking any ships that try to pass through it for the most part. And that caused supply worries. Scarcity worries made oil prices spike to 120 after the weekend. Then yesterday, the president came out trying to ease some of these oil fears. It effectively said the conflict is close to being over. And this settled the price of oil. Oil is now around $90 a barrel. It's at 89.60s for WTI crude. Brent crude is probably around $90 a barrel right now. NASDAQ did have a big V-shaped recovery in the wake of all of this. But now it's kind of starting to fade back down here. So here's the big V-shaped recovery. The NASDAQ dropped all the way down to 24,000 here before rebounding all the way back up to 25,000 where it sits now. We do have the Dow here. The Dow's V-shaped recovery was less significant, but still big. Went down to 46.3s. Is at 47.7s now for the Dow. You can see the S&P 500 futures at around 67, 6800s right now. Most things are pretty much close to flat here, and we are ahead of CPI inflation data. So CPI inflation data can be a big catalyst, and ahead of it, sometimes we chop and move sideways. So the Pentagon briefing on the Iran war is starting now. So right now, we do have the Pentagon briefing on the Iran war starting now. So we'll see if that moves anything. I believe it's Hegseth and Kane, if I remember correctly, speaking at this briefing. Hegseth and Kane. We'll see what they say. I will watch it in the background and tell you guys any important things they say. Yeah, it is Hegseth and Kane. Yeah, Pentagon briefing. Seesaw economy until midterms. Oracle does release today. It's this evening. Will we invade? NEO dropped earnings this morning. They should have positive versus a negative 5-cent EPS expected and beat revenue. Kohl's beat EPS, missed revenue. Hey, thank you, Check. Appreciate you, friend. Yeah, I mean, NEO thought they were going to come in at a loss per share. They ended up showing positive. They haven't started speaking yet. NEO gapping up a little bit. NEO is just risky, though, for me. It's not one of those stocks that I'm super interested in buying. There's too much variance potential here with this. You know, there's just too much variance potential here. But today we do have Oracle earnings releasing after the bell. Oracle earnings are scheduled for 4:05 p.m. Can you look at SMWB? Yeah, I mean, friend, this is just not a stock that... I don't know anything about this. It looks like a penny stock that's given a lot of it back over the last year. Long-term chart's really not good. It was at $25 a share back in July of 2021. It is now at $273. And so... But yeah, looking at this, the Pentagon briefing hasn't started yet. So that hasn't started yet. We got about 15 minutes until, you know, this report's scheduled. So we'll see what it looks like. Yeah, it'll probably move markets. Again, we're going to be watching this live as it happens. About 15 minutes until ADP jobs report shows up. It's the weekly ADP report. Last weekly report showed up at what? What did we show up last time? For ADP, it was like... Trying to think of what I know the monthly report, what we got last week was the monthly report. So this one's less big. This one last time showed up at 12.8 thousand weekly average. You know, so 12.8 thousand weekly average. I don't know what he was just saying, but... Yeah, my clock is probably a little fast. That's normal. And you look at SWNB. Yeah, drone stocks are probably going to keep doing fine. But yeah, this is just not really a stock I like, brother. Sorry. It's just not my style. Friend. Sorry, dude. Nvidia is still dipping down, though. Nvidia's at 182s right now. 182s. Yeah, ADP does seem to be opposite of the Bureau of Labor Statistics sometimes. I can kind of agree with that. Just to put this into perspective, the jobs, the ADP data last week showed up at like 60-something thousand, and then the jobs report showed up at negative 92,000. So sometimes they can be counter what the actual data is. So yeah, let's see what the Lucid, or let's see what the ADP report shows. Yeti's still a thing, but as most stuff like that, they find other options, is what I think. Well, bond yields are up over the last few days, but I think they're net down over the last 24 hours just because, you know, we saw some stabilization in oil fears. And so if you look at the 10-year Treasury yield, I think they're actually down some. Yesterday they were at over 4.2% for a little while. Today they're back down. Yeah, look. So here's yields right here. Yesterday they were over 4.2%. They've fallen all the way back down to 4.13%. They're still elevated though. I mean, if you look at them since the beginning of March, yields are up from under 4% to 4.1%. All right, so Hegseth is now speaking here. Let's listen to what he says. Hegseth is now speaking.
Well, to our fellow Americans, brave warriors, and steadfast allies, good morning. You know, as someone who led troops, led soldiers in the streets of Baghdad and Samarra, Iraq, and who trained counterinsurgents in Kabul, Afghanistan, and who still carries the weight of brothers lost to Iranian terrorist proxies, many backed by the same Iranian regime were confronted.
Yeah, I mean, look, guys, I can't really stream this. I can give you some quotes on it, though. So we'll keep quoting what he says, but we'll watch NVIDIA, NASDAQ, everything else as it happens. But we'll cover what he's saying, though. So 476,000 Americans are working 2 full-time jobs simultaneously, an all-time high, according to BBG. We also have to watch the price of oil to see how this Hegseth Pentagon conference influences the price of oil. But yeah, we're watching this. Yeah, I'm trying to find one. Yeah, I'm going to mute the background music and then listen to this. But yeah, here's the NASDAQ. He said Iran is desperate and scrambling, according to U.S. Defense Secretary Hegseth. On day 10 of Operation Epic Fury, we are winning. Focus on our objectives. All right, guys, we have 10 minutes until the ADP jobs report. Look at the NASDAQ dip here, though, guys. So the NASDAQ has rejected at the volume-weighted average price. Those that were fading my direction, you know, we're at 24,924s on the NASDAQ. We are still dipping down. President. Yeah, I'm listening to Hegseth and Kane. Yeah, he said Iran stands alone and is badly losing. The HSBC raises the average 26 Brent crude price forecast to $80 BBL. Yeah, we're heading into the ADP jobs report. The NASDAQ is fading down a little bit here. Fading down into this report. No barking today, yeah. Yeah, I'm not really picking sides. It's just kind of what he's saying is a little bit too... I can cover the conflict news, but... All right, guys, we do have the ADP jobs report at 8:15. NASDAQ is at 24,930s here. So 24,930s. Oil prices surging up to almost $90 a barrel right now. on Hegseth's comments. Look at the $90 barrel pop here. So we just broke over $90 a barrel for for WTI crude. Still pushing here. This is probably on Hegseth's quote. Again, Hegseth says the U.S. won't end the Iran war until the enemy is defeated. Today will be most intense day of strikes, according to Hegseth. This is spiking the price of oil, making the NASDAQ dip. Again, Hegseth says the U.S. won't end the Iran war until the enemy is defeated, and today will be the most intense day of strikes. Oil is popping over $90 a barrel on these quotes. And again, the NASDAQ is down to 24,920s as we speak. This is what's going on right now. Yeah, this is what's going on. We're at 24.9s, 24.9s. AI is overhyped. Yeah, that might be true, but it's going to grow into it. So Hegseth says objectives are to destroy missiles and defense industrial base, and another objective is to hit the Navy. Today will be the most intense day of strikes. Oil is now over $90 a barrel. Does oil continue up today, guys? What do you guys think? Does oil continue to rebound today after stabilization yesterday in prices? UAE Ruwais refinery is stopped as a precaution. Yeah, look at that gold and silver here. Oil spiking on this news. Gold 51.70s, more elevated than what it was yesterday. Silver still at $88 an ounce right now. The NASDAQ is trying to hold, but it is fading down into this. NASDAQ is now technically red on the day as we speak. Technically red on the day. Yeah, I think AI is going to grow into a lot of people criticize its use, but I think it'll grow into it even where it hasn't yet. Yeah, it's interesting. Yesterday we saw potential stabilization of the price of oil, but the president essentially said the conflict was close to being over. We have Kane now speaking.
And finally, Major Sorfleet Davies, who returned home this weekend after sadly passing away from a medical condition while on duty in Kuwait. We welcome him home as well and mourn with his family. To the families and the families of all of our fallen, we share.
Yeah, so Kane's speaking right now. All right, guys, listen, we have like 3 minutes left, 3.5 minutes left, maybe 4 or 5 minutes left actually, until the ADP jobs report comes out. The truth is coming out about extreme limitation of LLMs. They can't do what was promised. Yeah, I mean, you don't think they're going to grow into it, though. Look at oil, guys. Oil almost up to $91 a barrel. Almost to $91 a barrel on Hegseth, saying today's going to be one of the biggest day for strikes. He also said Iran's missile launch capability has declined. But Hegseth did say today will be the most intense day of strikes, pushing oil higher here. So yeah, Hegseth is still speaking right now, but we'll see what he says. Bitcoin, take a breath. Yeah, Bitcoin today back over 70,000, but on this recent news, it is starting to fade back down. It's at 75s basically right now. I don't know what the NASDAQ is going to do here. We have 3 minutes left until the ADP jobs report. It's a small report. It's not a huge report today, but it's something. We have about 2 minutes, 2.5, 3 minutes left. Last time they showed up at what was it? 12.8, 11.8 was the last jobs report. It showed up at 12.8 thousand weekly average. But then the last official report showed negative 92,000 private payrolls. So kind of getting two opposing reports. What's driving oil prices right now, guys, again, is Hegseth saying today will be the most intense day of strikes and that the U.S. won't end the Iran war until the enemy is defeated. Pete Hegseth. NASDAQ has faded down. Oil has pushed higher. We also had news that the UAE Ruwais refinery has stopped as a precaution. Let's see if oil keeps filling some of this gap. But oil is back up on the day from 85s to 90 plus now. Starting to dip some here though. 2 minutes until the ADP jobs report goes live. U.S. General Kane says the U.S. campaign has struck more than 5,000 targets. We are going to put it in sub-only mode, so if you haven't already subscribed, hit the notification bell. We'll see what the ADP report shows. The last one was not a big report. And again, sometimes this ADP report is a little bit late. We'll see what happens. We will read it, but sometimes it is late. So we'll just prepare for this here. Regarding ADP's report, it's supposed to end, or it's supposed to release in about 2 minutes. Make sure you hit the live button, really about 1 minute. Hit the live button next to the play button, put it in 2x speed, guys. Catch up to the stream. That isn't what they're doing. All right, here we go. Here's the ADP report. It's going live in about 1 minute. Make sure you hit the live button next to the play button, put it in 2x speed. Gold's doing nothing. Well, tomorrow we have CPI inflation data. So that might move things too. All right, guys, here we go. Less than a minute. About 40 seconds left. Sometimes this report is late, but we're going to try to find it. Last time it showed up at 12.8 thousand. 12.8K last time. We have about 20 seconds left. Make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. This might not move markets, but we're watching it right now because Hegseth is speaking. Here we go. About 15 seconds. And here's the report going live in about 5 seconds. And here's the report. Again, last time it showed up at 12.8 thousand. Nothing out yet. Yeah, I don't see anything for it. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't know if it's just delayed on my end or what. Okay, 15.5K. 15.5K versus 12.75 previously. So ADP employment 15.5 thousand versus 12.75 thousand previously. A little bit stronger than last time actually here. Put that up on screen now, but again, 15.5 thousand versus 12.75 thousand previously. And this is weird because it's after the last one showed up at negative 92,000. So the last one showed up at negative 92,000 here. Yeah, we're going to see if the market moves here, but last one should have been negative 92,000. I'm trying to look at where some of these reports show. Jobs report. And this is after the last ADP report showed up at 63,000, I think is what happened with the last one. Yeah, the problem with ADP is that their site breaks here, to be honest. Like, look. Like, their site breaks. There we go. Let's back up. Today's March 10th, right? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so here's the actual report. 15.5 thousand jobs. Here is the graph you can see. Private employees added an average of 15.5 thousand jobs a week. Employment held steady in February after 5 straight weeks of strengthening. These numbers are preliminary and could change as new data is added. Mortgage rates are at their lowest level in 4 years. Could boost February data on existing home sales later. But the CPI inflation report tomorrow is interesting. Yeah, I mean, most people tune in because we cover stuff quickly here. The ADP one's kind of the one-off one. I mean, it might just be because it doesn't have much influence. But NASDAQ didn't really move here. Again, we showed up at 15.5K for ADP's data here. So, get the timer out the way now. And this is all heading into tomorrow's CPI inflation. So, CPI inflation data tomorrow should be interesting. Yeah, Hegseth is speaking right now, and this is what's driving the price of oil. The NASDAQ is kind of stabilizing, though. Yeah, I didn't expect this to move the markets a ton, so... Gold, yeah, I mean, we can look at gold. Markets are kind of quiet right now. Gold is sitting at 51.75, right around the volume-weighted average price. It tapped 5200s earlier today, but now it's just kind of sitting tight. Yeah, the ADP report just came out at 15.5K. You can see the big red banners on the screen if you're looking for this. Yields didn't really move at all, though, is kind of what I'm watching. Like, you think maybe a stronger labor report would make yields go up, but they really haven't been changed much. They went up a little bit, but 4.13%. They were over 4.2% yesterday. It's a little quiet in markets. Not a lot going on. Bitcoin sitting at 75s. Hegseth is still speaking.
Thanks, Mr. Secretary. There's been reports that the new leader of Iran has been wounded. Do you know if this is true and what his condition is? And then another one, President Trump said he had a really good call with President Putin yesterday. Will Russia be aiding us in this conflict, and can you share anything on that?
Well, the president, as I've said before,
I don't know if y'all can hear this.
Strong relationships with world leaders.
Yeah, I'll put this up.
Opportunities and options for us in very dynamic ways. So the president said it was a good call. I was not on it, but those that were said it was a strong call, reaffirming hopefully the opportunity for some peace. And
can you guys hear this?
And also a recognition that as it pertains to this conflict, they should not be involved. He would be wise to heed the words of our president, which is to not pursue nuclear weapons and come out and state as such. As far as his status, that's not something I can comment on right now. Yeah, right.
Great. Mr. Secretary, Eric Schmidt with the New York Times. A question for you first. Last week you talked about this being the beginnings of an air campaign that could last 3 to 8 weeks. Can you give us
this
your
is length of the conflict news right here, so let's see what he says.
In any conflict, the enemy or the adversary adapts to the tactics it faces. Can you talk about the most challenging adaptation the Iranian military has made to the U.S. military? What challenges are you facing most right now? Thank you.
I appreciate the question. Where we are is in a very strong place, giving the President of the United States maximum options. And from the beginning, from this podium, we haven't stated how long it will take. Our will is endless. Ultimately, the President gets to determine the end state of those objectives, right? But what he's said continually, and I want the American people to understand, is this is not endless. It's not protracted. We're not allowing mission creep. The President has set a very specific mission to accomplish. And our job is to unrelentingly deliver that. Now, he gets to control the throttle. He's the one deciding, he's the one elected on behalf of the American people when we're achieving those particular objectives. And so it's not for me to posit whether it's the beginning, the middle, or the end. That's his, and he'll continue to communicate that. What we serve him as is we give him updates on a daily basis of exactly where we are so he can make that determination on the throttle. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for the question on adaptation. As you're right, no plan survives first contact with the enemy or Murphy. They're adapting.
Yeah, so just to clarify, guys, so the U.S. Secretary of War Hegseth, when asked about the duration of this conflict, says that we are in a very strong place. Will is endless, and it's up to the president to decide. Mission is not endless and not protracted, and the president gets to control the throttle. End quote. U.S. Secretary of War Hegseth just said this. So I wanted to, let you guys hear that, just because I thought that might move things, just based off of how influential the length and timeline of this conflict is in market action. But right now, again, NASDAQ red on the day technically. Oil back green, over $90 a barrel for WTI crude. And yeah, we'll see if they continue. But he's essentially saying that he's not really wanting to give an answer there. I promise you he doesn't really want to give an answer there, because either way, it's not really good. The longer it drags on, the more we might see oil spike and the NASDAQ dip, and they don't want that right now. They're trying to stabilize the price of oil. So he's going to give us a little bit more vague of an answer, to be honest. So that's kind of what we see here. We do see the NASDAQ start to pop a little bit higher now, though. NASDAQ over 24,940s, oil dipping down, so.
Does Iran have to shoot down jets over their...
How long does this conflict last, guys? Let me know, how long does this conflict last? I'm going to go with, like I said, 6 to 8 weeks is what 6 to 8 weeks is my guess. But years, forever, too long. The war past December. 2 more weeks. 2 months maybe. I'm gonna go with 6 to 8 weeks, 2 months basically. Is what I'm thinking. At least a decade. I hope you're wrong, sir. I hope you're wrong. 1 week. Over 4 years. No end in sight. Depends on the goal. Forever.
And also stated from the beginning, is Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. And it's one thing to say.
I'm thinking 3 to 4 months. Tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Murr says concerned apparent lack of plan on how to end the Iran war. IDF detects launch of missiles from Iran, working to intercept it now. Top U.S. general says Iran is fighting, but not more formidable than we thought. Yeah, oil is green on the day. It closed at $85 a barrel for WTI crude. It's back over $90 a barrel now, and the NASDAQ is down as well. So we're seeing maybe a continuation in fears regarding how long this conflict will last. And again, this is after, just now, the U.S. Secretary of War Hegseth, when asked about the duration, says in a very strong place, will is endless, and it's up to the president to decide. Yeah, I don't know how long it's going to last. It's not that I think it's going to last only weeks. It's that I hope it lasts only weeks. So maybe it's some confirmation bias on my guess on how long this thing lasts. I really don't know. I hope it doesn't last very long. So oil is heading to 95 today. It's possible for sure. I mean, we're not that far away. We're at 91 basically right now. So yeah, it's possible. We head to 95. So the opening bell opens up some of the volatility that we've seen. $95 minimum. Current low prices. Weird break. At least 3 to 6 months. Yeah, Hegseth, when asked about reports that the new Ayatollah has been wounded, he says, quote, as far as his status, that's not something I can comment on right now, end quote. So, yeah, he did talk about the president speaking with Russia as well. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But oil spiking back up to over $90 a barrel, and NASDAQ is now red on the day. If the fears regarding the Middle East continue today, we might see the NASDAQ dip and oil continue to rise. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if the fears continue, obviously we could see it. Yeah, we got about an hour until the market opens. Also, guys, check out Lucid. Again, if you want to check out Lucid, I just got one of their direct-to-funded options this morning. 60 million paid to pro traders, funded account program. Most day traders lose, chat. So if you fund your own account with thousands of dollars, you're probably going to lose in the beginning. Most day traders do. This allows you to try for cheap, and they have a direct-to-funded option. Like, if you look at their direct-to-funded option, if you use my coupon code BT at checkout, you can get it for $238. Maximum loss limit of 1,000, end-of-day drawdown, and more. You can use up to 20 micros or 2 minis. I think that's a reasonable thing. You can use the 50K direct-to-funded option. It's only about $360 with my coupon code BT at checkout. That's really not that bad, honestly, for direct-to-funded. Again, most day traders lose. They give you a demo, test your skill with it. You pass the test, they fund you. You fail, you only lose what you pay for it. In this case, you know, you can get base one for under $100. Use coupon code BT. Again, you'll get a big discount. I am not an investment professional, though, guys. I am not liable. If you lose money, always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Understand all this stuff on screen. I'll put the link up. If you want to help support the channel on Lucid, use code BT. BT for 50% off and new users. I'll put this up, pin it to the top of the chat. I appreciate the love. We've traded on that direct-to-funded account a couple times, or at least once today. Not investment advice, not liable if you lose money, guys. But we have traded at least once on this account today. We had a green trade. We'll see if we continue. I will pin this to the top of the chat. But again, a great way to help support the channel. Lucid's kind of one of the big up-and-coming firms. I think market priced in the war and doesn't seem like things can escalate. Yeah, private software companies, they're struggling a little bit as well. But things could certainly escalate. You got to look at the history of conflicts and seeing how much things escalated then. Easiest one to look at, obviously, is the U.S. war. Yeah, look at 2008 financial crisis, 140s price of oil. So oil can and does spike pretty high. Depends on what's going on, but NASDAQ's still dipping here, and oil is still ripping up. NASDAQ now down to 24,900s. But yeah, things could always escalate more. I hope they don't, but they certainly could. So, U.S. Secretary of War Hegseth says if Iran does anything to stop the flow of oil within the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit harder than ever. That the president takes the condition of the Strait of Hormuz very seriously. And again, oil up to $91 a barrel, just tapped 91s. NASDAQ still dipping down. It's at 24,900s here. So yeah, that's what's going on right now. Look at the NASDAQ fall here, guys. NASDAQ under 24.9, so at 24.8s right now. Oil at $91 a barrel. Iran security chief said this. He said, quote, "The Strait of Hormuz will either be a strait of peace and prosperity for all, or will be a strait of defeat and suffering for warmongers." Iran security chief. So yeah, a little bit of escalation in the wording that's going on right now between things. NASDAQ down to 24,900s. Oil at almost $91 a barrel. Yeah, I'm not even necessarily against you, Rami. It's all good. Believe, you know, we could all... Maybe you're right. Maybe we're not going to escalate further. I don't know. Yeah, the VIX is probably going to be back up some today. It probably dipped yesterday, I'm guessing. Yeah, so the VIX dipped yesterday, and now it's back up some today at 25s. Still elevated from all the stuff going on, but it did dip some. But again, the Iranian security official says the Strait of Hormuz will either be a strait of peace or one of suffering. Does this war escalate more? That's a good question for the chat here. Does this war escalate more? Did that rhyme? I think it did. Does this war escalate more, guys? Let me know. In the coming weeks, I should say. Does it get worse? Does oil continue up? Is another way to ask this question. Does oil continue to rise higher? Yes, 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 nah. Yes. Hegseth also just said that the aftermath. Hegseth just said that the aftermath of this war will be in the U.S. interests. Is something he just said. Yeah, so it will get worse and stagnant. A lot of people saying no. A lot of uncertainty out there for sure. The language being used is not good. Probably, I see nope. I don't see them giving up. As long as they can secure the strait, we'll be straight. Yeah, I mean that's good. That's probably true. If and when. If and when. Alright, so Iran is apparently launching missile attacks. UK Prime Minister Starmer did say that working with allies on a range of options to support commercial shipping through the Strait of Hormuz as everything develops there. Straight out of Hormuz. Yeah, I think regarding this type of stuff, most people have to accept the fact that there's a lot of stuff that we don't know. The public, I mean, regarding what's going on. NASDAQ starting to rebound some, though. We're basically flat in a range for the last 35, 40 minutes here. Keep it. Don't believe it. Yeah, again, guys, I'm gonna. It's so political here. I'm not gonna side with or against. I'm looking at my portfolio today. My portfolio is green. Any stocks you guys want me to take a look at? So I am green in my portfolio today. I think I was last time I looked at it. Actually, no, I'm a little red today. Why am I red? What dipped? I think maybe PayPal software still falling down some. PayPal at 46. Honestly, PayPal isn't really doing that bad. Netflix, we can take a look. Rest of the market's kind of flat here. Netflix at 98s. Tesla. Tesla back over $400 a share here. It was one of the biggest rebounds yesterday. Right at 400 is kind of interesting. Hims jumped. Somebody said, why did Hims jump so much this week? Hims jumped because Novo basically bowed out of their fight against them. I think we got the announcement for that yesterday where Novo isn't suing them anymore or whatever. And so Hims ended up jumping right back up because the reason Hims was down was because of Novo basically saying that they were going to come after them. Caterpillar. Yeah, so you can see Hims is back up big from that news. Novo's down a little bit, actually. Caterpillar over $700. The question is, do they get involved with robotics? I don't think so. But I don't think it would be a bad idea for them to diversify into that stuff. Looking into the deep future, I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea for them. Where's Home Depot at? Depot at 350s. They're fighting back down too. Yeah, tomorrow is CPI day. Will be exciting for sure. They are already? Yeah, I mean, I think that's obvious the next path they should be taking. You gotta... Sometimes businesses go obsolete. You gotta just try to avoid that if you're Caterpillar. And if they are, that's great. That's what they should be doing. CoreWeave. A lot of people talking about CoreWeave and asked me to take a look at CoreWeave today. CoreWeave's still down at 74s. You know, it has this really big flag on the chart, on the daily chart here, but I think most people see this now. But I don't think it's risk-free. I think oil movement's interesting yesterday. It stabilized after the president said that the conflict is getting close to being over. And so, you know, oil prices ended up ripping up over the weekend and then stabilized into yesterday with these big pullbacks down to $85 a barrel. That's where we closed at yesterday, is 85. Now we're sitting at 90 plus after Hegseth's comments and more worries overseas about stuff. We're getting missile launch updates now. We'll see if it holds, but yeah. We do have CPI inflation data tomorrow at 8:30 though. CPI inflation, if we take a look at this here, chat. 8:30 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. This whole week's honestly pretty busy. Not only do we get CPI inflation data tomorrow, you can see that right here, but we get PCE inflation and GDP on Friday. We have PCE inflation, GDP on Friday. Not only that, but we have JOLTS Friday as well. Consumer sentiment, durable goods, GDP, PCE, jobless claims, housing starts, building permits, CPI inflation tomorrow. It's expected at 2.4% year over year and 2.5% for core year over year, 0.2% for core month over month, and 0.3% month over month for headline CPI inflation. Do we get higher or lower inflation tomorrow, guys? I'm going to do a poll. We asked people already, are they bullish or bearish? 57% are bullish so far in the poll. We're going to do another poll regarding tomorrow. Does tomorrow's CPI inflation print go up higher or lower than expected? Higher, lower. Does tomorrow's CPI inflation print show up higher or lower, guys? There's the poll. Vote on that live. Yeah, we got home sales in about an hour. I don't know how much that's going to move stuff, though. The NASDAQ is starting to hold here, though. We're starting to rebound back up. We did have private payrolls show up at 15.5 earlier. Yeah, it looks like Hegseth is done now speaking. With oil rising, inflation is strong, but not too much yet. All right, looking at our poll, 81% said higher, 18% say lower. Feels higher in my pockets. Yeah. This oil influence is not going to be influencing CPI, though. Just to understand this, guys. So oil is not really going to be moving. It's not considered yet. So the oil strikes happened really over the last, what, 10 days? So yeah, most of the oil shocks started at the beginning of March. So here's where March started right here, just to put this into perspective regarding oil. So there's the beginning of March. Here's the big gains and craziness. So that's where we are now. But just understand, this data is from before March. So this data is from February. So this data is from back here. It's not going to have the oil spikes that we see in it, to put that in perspective. So we're not going to, the surges in oil are not going to be included in this inflation report. This is a February CPI report. So this is a report for last month. So the point is, oil spikes are not going to be seen in this report tomorrow. Still relevant, but we're not going to see the oil shock in terms of headline CPI yet. I don't think we make it back over to 100 today. Catching sellers off guard. Yeah, look at the NASDAQ pop back higher here. So this is the previous closing price on the NASDAQ, the red to green level where stocks go red to green, green to red. The NASDAQ is now technically green on the day as I say this. So here's the green level. NASDAQ is slightly over it now, very slightly. Technically green. Oil is coming back down. It's under $90 a barrel here as well. Not a crazy big pullback, but it's something. We also had news that a drone strike is halting the United Arab Emirates' largest refinery. That it's halted operations, sparked a fire earlier. They're assessing damage which at the Ruwais refinery, which can process 922,000 barrels of oil per day. It's one of the world's largest. So this shutdown adds to the widening disruptions across the Persian Gulf after Saudi Arabia halted its largest refinery and Qatar closed the world's biggest LNG export facility. So we are now rejecting at the previous closing price on the NASDAQ. We're now rejecting here. Chat, check out hold on, let me get this up. Here's the chat overlay. Yeah, make sure to use code BG for Take Profit Trader or Apex. It's the last day of the Apex sale as well, but the one I've been using most, I've been using Apex and Lucid most recently. So BT, if you want to check out Lucid, promo code BT, beginner trading. So we just popped over the NASDAQ here. On oil, here's the 200 exponential right here. You can kind of see how this has acted as a resistance and a little bit of support already here. The 200 exponential. So we're looking at this now. NASDAQ is now technically green on the day again. Look at the NQ push here. So the NASDAQ is now technically green right here. If you look at it, it has popped over the previous close. And it's now technically green. So Russia and Iran's foreign minister is discussing the Middle East situation apparently. Yeah, I see some people mentioning natty gas futures. Natty gas futures dipping down. They're technically green on the day. Natty gas futures have stayed elevated. They went all the way up to 350 basically during this oil surge. They're back down to 3. Still up a lot though if you look at like a 20-day chart. We had this big winter storm though that is kind of overshadowing this recent move on natty gas. This winter storm drove natty gas prices up to 740s. Just because people need their heater more during the winter storm. And so you can kind of see the recent natty gas moves are kind of small compared to things. But look at oil come down here, guys. So oil's dipping down and the NASDAQ's pushing higher. We are at 24,980 here, 24,980. Oil back down to $89 a barrel here, right at the 200 exponential. Do you guys trade natural gas? Dude, it's kind of scary to trade that. I use a bunch of different sources, really. Yeah, look, here's the 200 EMA. We popped right up to this. Look at that. $89 a barrel for oil. Yeah, we did bounce directly off of it. Directly off of it. So we got a little green here. A stomach. Still below the VWAP. Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about the NASDAQ. I'm looking at oil, though. Oil went down to the 200 EMA at $89 a barrel. Bounced directly off of it. It wasn't just the 200 exponential. It was the whole dollar number of 89. NASDAQ technically green on the day. So far, barely green. Whole instruments are scary to trade nowadays. I get it. Especially natural gas. Natural gas is wild. The 200 exponential is still pretty high up there, though. Wait. I thought I had the 200 exponential on my chart already. That's the simple. I don't want the simple. I want the... Moving averages, EMA. Gotta put the 200 up here. There we go. Yeah, NASDAQ's getting close to this here. Look at the NASDAQ push. The 200 exponential's right there, though. I might mess with it if we get up there and short this here. The only problem is we are getting past the big volume. Like, a lot of the time the volume can make it chop, like the big volume profile here. So we are getting past it, so it's also possible we start to trend. But I'll take a couple contracts here and keep it small. If we get up there to 200 exponential. I also kind of have to watch for a break of structure, though. Should have bought the open yesterday morning. But yeah, I should have bought Amazon in 2005, 2003. Or whatever it went live, but hey, hindsight's 2020, my friend. UAE intercepted 8 missiles. 1 fell in the sea. All right, guys, we're still waiting. We got about 40 minutes until the opening bell. Remember, chat, if you want to help support the channel, you can check out Lucid here. Here's my Lucid link. Great way to help support the channel. Get funded. Limit your risk. Most day traders are going to lose. And so, great way to learn. There's the link right there. Check it out. Put the link up here. Yeah, what you see me trading is a direct to funded Lucid account. The good thing about Lucid is you can go direct to funded if you want. NASDAQ is a $10 a penny move like oil. Or natty gas. Isn't the NASDAQ? No, the NASDAQ is 5, right? I think the S&P 500 futures contract, the ES, is 10. But the range is smaller. The NASDAQ is 5, but it moves wild, is what I remember, if I remember correctly. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong there, but I think that's what it is, right? Yeah, remember, we do have Oracle earnings after the closing bell today. So, okay, so it's $5. Is it $5? I thought it was 10 on the E-mini, but you're probably right. I know the NASDAQ is definitely more volatile than the S&P. So, just depends. Are you using the Lucid platform? This is Tradeovate. This is a Lucid direct-to-funding account on Tradeovate. I'm looking for the NASDAQ to get up here at 25K. I'll short that. Really easy risk if it gets up here. Not an investment professional, of course, guys. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Can't stop scalping oil. Just be careful. Oil, volatile right now, especially. So just be careful. Oil's volatile. So it's one of those situations where you can trade it and make some good money, but just be careful. Because oil moves wild in terms of swings. Oh, dude, I just looked at my screen. Oh my gosh. Here. All right, I'm going to take the short right here. Small short. 2 contracts. We'll add to it if we go deeper in the green and we get a longer term pullback, but we got to kind of build up a cushion here first is what I'm looking to do. So I don't want to take a crazy big risk. And we'll give it some time. All right, we're a little green now. I'll add to it if we go deeper in the green. I'm not going to hold. I'd like a move all the way back down to here, which would mean oil needs to spike on the NASDAQ, but I don't trust it enough yet. And it's almost the top of the hour at 9 o'clock in the morning, so. Oil is bouncing. Good time to short the NQ. Yeah, that's kind of my logic. We're right at the 200 exponential. So we are in a short right now, but it's not a big position. And we are green on the day. All right, so now we're red on this trade. I'll give it a second to test the 200 EMA, though. Like, we'll see if it tests. My portfolio is back to green on the day, mostly driven by Oracle. We are green in Oracle. Small position in Oracle, though. It does have earnings today. So, see if the NASDAQ continues to reject here. There we go. That's good. I'm just going to sit tight and wait, I think, here. There we go. If we get a little retracement back up, I will add to this here. Not my favorite ad spot, but we will take some off here and see if we break down some more. Give it some time. Here we go. I'm gonna take half off there just to lock that in. We can break down some more. Shorting the 200 exponential here. Take that off. Leave one left. Give it some more time to flush. Easy short at the 200 EMA here. I'm gonna cut it right there. Easy short. I could have held it longer, but that's all right. We got such a nice breakdown quickly here, so let's put this back up. Yeah, we rejected again. 200 exponential short and the whole dollar of 25,000 just made that really easy. I wanted to cut it right here, whatever level we have right there on the chart. I wanted to get out before. We're gonna take smaller positions ahead of the open though, but that's kind of what we just did. I'm not really shorting the NASDAQ in relation to oil. I see somebody saying, hey, I'm new. Why short NASDAQ in relation to oil? Well, right now, that's the correlation. Oil goes down, NASDAQ goes up. Oil goes up, NASDAQ goes down. Yesterday, NASDAQ went up big. Oil stabilized. What I'm really shorting is a couple different milestone levels on this chart. We've got 25,000 right here. We've got the 200 exponential right here. We got the volume weighted average price underneath it. And so when all these levels converge to right around the same spot, a lot of shorts jump in there, and I'm just kind of piggybacking off of those shorts, if that makes sense. So I'm jumping in 25,000, big whole dollar psychological level. People naturally kind of watch whole dollars like that, like 25,000. And so, yeah, I mean, that's all this is. There's a bunch of different accounts that I trade. So we trade a lot. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We got out pretty close to where we should have, I think. You know. Yeah, maybe I should have held, but it's alright. I wanted to get out here at the previous close. I don't want to see us bounce. You know, so like I don't want to see us bounce right here at the previous closing price, maintain green. Oil starts to dip, NASDAQ starts to push back up and retest, and I lose the gains that I made. This is a new account on Lucid, so I'm trying to build up some cushion, if that makes sense first. Excessively high oil prices hurt economic growth. Sure, but they also have inflation dynamics as well. With CPI inflation tomorrow, though, we're not really going to see that because, again, like I said earlier, CPI inflation is not including... The big run-up in oil happened in March. And look, here's exactly why we got out of this on the NASDAQ. So, let me see any news that we might have. JB Diamond is warning that market risks look a lot like 05 and 07. Coalition of companies that includes Google and Tesla will address energy affordability by tapping into underused electric grid capacity. All right, so now we're kind of hitting the volume weighted average price. Oil is falling though. Look at oil dip, 88.70s. So oil's starting to fall back down now. Gold and silver. Gold is flying. Yeah, gold's up to $5,200 an ounce right now. Hit 52.13s. Trying to see if there's any news to justify this. Could be just flows heading in. All right, so NVIDIA is going to invest in Thinking Machines Lab and supply AI chips. So NVIDIA is going to invest in Thinking Machines Lab and supply AI chips. Is the news that I'm showing. So Put that up on screen here. I don't know if this is what's influencing gold. Nvidia's not really moving much though. Maybe some insiders getting baked into stuff, but yeah, a coalition of companies that include Google and Tesla will address energy affordability by tapping into underused electricity grid capacity. Going back to oil here. Oil's just flat over the last 10-15 minutes. NASDAQ's a little bit more interesting, but it's kind of flat too. It's technically green on the day, though. It is under 25,000 here. Yeah, gold's over 5,200s if you look at it. Yeah, we just covered this news. Sitting at 5,208. So China apparently has spent years preparing for a Middle East oil crisis, and the current conflict involving Iran is its biggest test yet. To reduce vulnerability, they have built massive oil reserves estimated at over 1.2 billion barrels, about 100 days of imports, while boosting domestic production, expanding EVs, and deepening energy ties with Russia. The strategy also limits exposure to disruptions at the Strait of Hormuz, a key oil choke point. So far, these measures have helped them cushion the shocks through everything going on right now. But a prolonged conflict could still tighten LNG supplies for the industry, apparently. Iranians also ruled out any plans for a ceasefire negotiations, per Financial Times. Israel's prime minister said they are, quote, not done yet. Hexeth said today would be the, quote, most intense day of strikes. UAE's largest oil refinery has shut down after an attack. Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, and Iraq have cut production by almost 7 million barrels per day. And right now, oil's sitting at $89 a barrel. A little bit lower than it was yesterday, though. All right, chat. We still got 25 minutes. It's kind of slow. The market's just not really moving right now. I know I should be acting like it's crazy exciting. And it kind of is, but it isn't as well. The price action's boring right now. I can't really take any trades here. I asked this question earlier. Where are you guys from? Somebody asked this question earlier. Where are you guys from? We got a lot of interesting answers. Since we're a little bit closer to the opening bell, I'll ask it again. Where are you guys from? Oil has to push higher with all this news. Tampa, Texas, Wisconsin, Sweden, Indonesia, Houston, Michigan, New York, North Carolina, Poland, Western Wisconsin. Culver's is Wisconsin, right? I love some Culver's. Culver's is good. Memphis, I like Memphis. Fort Worth, Brooklyn, Massachusetts. I'm from New Orleans, now in Atlanta. Brazil, hey. Atlanta, Oregon, Nova Scotia, Chicago, Canada, Boston, Long Beach, Orlando, Cali, Colorado, Venezuela, Montana. Montana's where I want to go. I want to go to Montana. I want to go to Montana or Wyoming. Asia, Boston, Kentucky, Spain, Alabama. Go Tigers, but that's all right. It's chill up here. That's good. Australia, Moscow. I'm not moving there, dude. Honestly, it's probably too expensive to move to Montana or Wyoming now with all the tourists there. Like, it's probably super expensive, I'm assuming, there now, just because of tourism. New Orleans. Hey, what's up, Ron? Killeen, Texas. I've been to Killeen once. I was a realtor. I had this family that, like, I was a brand new realtor. I don't know. I was young. And I had this family, and I must have shown them like 15 houses. 15 houses. Which is a lot of work. A lot of work. And then one day they just ghosted me. I didn't hear from them for a week, apparently. And so I'm like, man, dude, I just spent all this time and energy. Oh, well, you know. And I get a call from them. They're like, yo, we decided to move to Killeen. They're like, if you drive out here one day, we'll let you be our realtor. And so that's what I did. I drove out there. They kept their word. First deal I ever did in real estate was in Killeen, Texas. Although when I was showing houses, the people there got kind of weird with me. Like, they were like, hey, bro, you're stepping into our territory. I'm kind of like, dude, sit down. All right. Me selling one house here. It's not like I'm going to start taking over the Killeen real estate market. You know, y'all calm down. It's not like I'm going to turn into the mob over here in Killeen, you know. Anyways, NASDAQ is at 24,950s here. Let's see if it holds. Hey, what's up, NY? Scotland? Scotland's cool. Hey, be safe over there. Yeah. Central Ontario? I actually like Canada. I lived in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario for a while. In Batchewana, Ontario. You might know where that's at. Anyways, oil dipping down still. NASDAQ is previous closing price. We're sitting right here at the previous close. Is it time to buy oil? Right, that's basically what he told me. There ain't enough room in this town for the both of us. I'm sitting there like, dude, I've never done a deal before ever. You know? Like, stop pressing me, man. I remember he's all upset. Like, I showed his property. Like, it was one of his properties I showed. And then when my clients didn't want to do the deal, that's when he got sideways with me about it. All right, guys, so NASDAQ bouncing right at this previous closing price. This level has held support this morning. This level has held support. 25,950s here. Let's see if we hold here, though, guys. Yeah, I should have told him. You know, you get nothing. Good day to you, sir. You get nothing. Clients don't like your house, bro. Get out of here. All right, NASDAQ popping back higher. 24,970s. The news is light today ahead of CPI, though. We do have CPI later on tomorrow. They say Tesla is the dragon. Oh, I don't know if Tesla's the dragon. Definitely not the dragon lately. All right, so yeah, NVIDIA making a significant investment in Thinking Machines Lab. Dragging the market down. Yeah. I can kind of laugh at that one. All right, guys. Oil's on a dip. Is it time to buy oil right here? So look at oil dipping. It's right at the volume weighted average price. It's fallen all the way down here this morning. Is it time to buy the oil dip right here? New gold top 5.2K. I did a poll. I said, does tomorrow's CPI inflation print show up higher or lower than expected? 75% said higher here. I'm not saying y'all are wrong, but that's a pretty deep majority. 75% higher than expected. I don't know what I'm going to give for my CPI print. I'll decide it tomorrow. Oracle earnings today. Yeah, Oracle does have earnings. I have some Oracle. Oracle's been a little wild though since I bought it. I bought it because it's down from 350 basically. It's at 150. It's down from 350. So yeah, that's why I bought it. But I don't know what to do here. Yeah, join our Discord. There's the Discord link right there. Pawn just posted it in chat. Completely free. Doesn't cost anything. You can hang out with us. Reach out if you need to. Hello, Max. Thanks for this channel and live reports and non-biased commentary. I mean, my name isn't Max, but, you know, today it is, though. Today we're all Max today, okay? My average price at Oracle right now, let me see, is 166 is my average price. So I'm in, like, right here. Top of the range is where I'm in, right here. Right around one here. So, you look like Max? Definitely top 3 Maxes of all time here. There's Max right here. You can call me Max. I'll be Max. Max profits today, huh? All right, so the Strait of Hormuz is effectively closed to most vessels as the Middle East conflict enters its second week. Inbound traffic to the Persian Gulf has been at a standstill for the past 24 hours, with only Iran-linked ships being allowed to pass through it here. So look at this. So inbound flows freeze. You can see traffic. The only carriers they're really letting through are Iran-based carriers. Johnny Max. Yeah, you know. But yeah, oil through the Strait of Hormuz effectively closed right now. NASDAQ is sideways. Yes, 20% of the world's oil goes through the Strait. So Yeah, oil's bouncing up a little bit here. It's at 88.6s, but the NASDAQ and oil are virtually flat right now, 12 minutes before the opening bell. Transponders turned off. Yeah, it's not technically zero, but it's close, right? Like, it's not... The Strait of Hormuz is not 100% closed, but the only ships are really letting through are Iran-based ships. So, it's not completely closed, but it might as well be. Oil bouncing a little bit right at the volume weighted average price at 88. NASDAQ still flat. We are green on the day, but bro, this AI is arguing with me, dude. Like, this AI will do something for me, and then when I'm like, hey, dude, something incredibly similar, it's basically the same thing. It's like, hey, I can't do that. It's like, yes, you can, dude. You said, yeah, you did this for me 20 minutes ago. And I even have to reference it. I'm like, oh, you can't? Well, look at what you did for me 20 minutes ago. And it's like, you know what? You're right. I can do this. Like, it doesn't even realize it can do it. I have to argue with it just to get it to listen to me. AI, guys. AI. Cheers to AI here. But... and then it gives me something that doesn't even look right. Hold on. Alright, dude. You gotta be specific with AI is what you have to learn. Yeah, it's just argue and just to argue. It's like, hey, I can't do that. I've never done that before, ever. Alright, look at oil popped over 89s. I don't know. I'm going to give my prediction for CPI inflation tomorrow. I don't know what we're going to get. I'll give my prediction. I think I would trust it if it sweared like a sailor more. Y'all don't know me off stream, but I curse way too much. Alright guys, 10 minutes left, 10 minutes left. Oil is down to 89s. Just to kind of recap the morning, though, yesterday we had news of weekend stuff. We had strikes going on, hurting output of oil. Oil spiked up to 120 over the weekend. By yesterday morning, around the opening bell, things had stabilized some, but oil was still elevated. Throughout the day yesterday, what we saw was that the president said that the conflict was close to being over yesterday. And so this immediately stabilized the price of oil, although the Strait of Hormuz is still effectively shut. But oil did dip all the way down to $89. And now here we are. So oil stabilized. The NASDAQ is still down, though. Slightly green technically on the day, but down this morning. You can see we were much higher than this. We had a big green V-shaped recovery bounce in the NASDAQ yesterday, bouncing right at 24,000 all the way back up to 25, basically where we're sitting now. Although there's still a lot of uncertainty. Please give your prediction for a March rate cut tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to give my prediction for a March rate cut right now. We're not getting one. I don't care how high CPI shows up. We will not be cutting rates in March. Or I don't care how low CPI shows up. I mean, the Fed's not cutting rates this month. You know, this meeting is in 8 days. It's next Wednesday for the FOMC decision. And so there's no chance, I think, right now that we are going to cut interest rates in March. I think we'll get a pause in March. And we'll get an updated dot plot. We do get an updated dot plot, I believe. But, yeah, we're not cutting rates this month. That's just not happening. Zero chance. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's zero, but I think it's incredibly improbable that we're going to cut interest rates in March right now, based off of the words we've heard from the Fed over the last 2 months, based off of everything. Even though we got really weak jobs numbers, I just don't think we're cutting rates this month. And if we look at the rate cut odds, I think they're what, 2.2%, something like that. And so even most people there do not think we're cutting interest rates this month. So it's just improbable. Maybe, but unlikely. All right, we are going to be trading some today, though, chat. We are going to be trading some. Going back to this news here, again, inbound traffic is basically down. Is basically frozen from the Strait of Hormuz. The only ships that are getting through are Iran-based ships. Do you predict more rate cuts happening this year than the market predicts? I think there's a lot of variance there, just because I think it all depends on the data we get. We continue to see really weak job numbers. Maybe we'll probably, potentially get more rate cuts this year if the job data continues to show signs of weakness, especially the official data. If the data stays the same right now, it's probably going to be the same, but that all depends on what the data looks like, how the job market looks, what inflation data looks like, and more. So Japan is backing the IEA's plan to coordinate oil reserve releases, according to Kyoto. All right, look at the NASDAQ pop higher here at the opening bell. Over 25,000 now. Oil starting to dip back down. Cost to travel the Strait went from 50,000 a day to 700,000 per day. What makes sense today? Long or short? I don't know, chat. Are you guys long or short today? I think earlier today, most people were long. I think it was like 60-40 longs today that I did on my poll. I'm not 100% sure, though. We'll see. But, the NASDAQ just popped over the 200 exponential. So we over the 200 exponential. We're over 25,000. Let's see if we hold here. We have 5 minutes left. Depends on if we get a Hormuz attack. Yeah. 3.5 minutes, guys. 3.5 minutes. NASDAQ's right at 25,000. We're going to let the opening bell play out. We are pretty green on the day, though. We got a nice little cushion on the day. The war will be over before Friday's close. Whichever way it goes, I'm riding with it on the Dow. Got to clear the shorts. Yeah, the NASDAQ popped over 25,000 and then it dipped back down here, but oil sideways as well. We'll see what the bell brings. It's kind of a quiet day, to be honest, at the open. We don't have a lot of volatility, variance, or big breaking news this morning ahead of CPI tomorrow. I also think, I said this earlier, but I think because of CPI inflation data tomorrow, maybe we'll see some flat sideways, maybe a big range, but kind of neutral, apprehensive action ahead of the opening bell is what I'm guessing here. We'll see though. We'll see. All right, here we go. 2.5 minutes left. Do we hold long positions on oil or bail out before the opening bell? I'm not telling you to do anything. I am not an investment professional, guys. I am not liable if you lose money. Make your own assessment, trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Understand all this stuff on screen. Understand CFTC 4.41. This is not investment advice. We are not liable if you lose. Make your own assessment, trade smart, guys. We can't guarantee anything here. Gold pumps. All right, here we go. Opening bell is almost here. We have about a minute and a half left. We do have some data coming out. Existing home sales for February. 3.89 million last time. Or 3.91 million last time. Today they're expected at a little bit lower at 3.89. Yeah, I used the opening range breakout. That's what I'm going to be looking for today as well, is the orb. Yeah, we'll see what we get. But I'm going to be watching the opening range breakout today. Bitcoin still sitting at almost 71,000 here ahead of the opening bell. So Bitcoin's been doing all right. We'll see if that dynamic continues though today, but they're doing okay. Oil's kind of flat. We have about 30 seconds left here. All right. It's the opening bell, guys. It's the opening bell. Gulf Coast, Florida. Love you, Jay. Welcome west of Tampa. Hey, thank you. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Hims is still shooting up. I wish I was still in it. I don't think I am. All right, here's the opening bell. If the opening bell is delayed, hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed here, chat. Here we go. Here's the bell. NASDAQ dipping down under 25,000. There's the opening bell. Alphabet's honestly pushing. Look at this big volume surge at the open. 25,030s right now in the NASDAQ. Oil under $89 a barrel. Alphabet's pushing up. Nvidia is going up a little bit. Microsoft's actually falling down. It's at 408s right now. 408s. Look at the NASDAQ jump here at the open. 2550s on the NASDAQ. Higher than that now. Yeah, good luck, guys and girls. We'll see what happens. Big jump here. Oil dipping down under the volume weighted average price now at $88 a barrel. $25.5s here. Oil 88s. Hims is at 26,000. Microsoft starting to rebound back up. I have to wait at least 4 or 5 minutes to trade here, though, guys. So I'm looking for the opening range breakout. It looks like it's going to be a large opening range, though, with some of the push that we've had. Oil continues to dip down. NASDAQ up, oil down. So far at the opening bell, though, we are about 2 minutes into the day here. Oil just cracked the opening low. NASDAQ back over 25s. Microsoft's starting to do a red to green move here. And while I'm waiting to trade, guys, listen, if you want to help support the channel, check out Lucid today. Lucid, great way to learn. Most day traders lose. They have a direct to funding option if you check them out. You know, Lucid Trading does have a direct to funding option. But if you want to try to pass the test naturally, they give you a demo. They test your skill with it. You pass the test, they fund you. You fail, you only lose what you pay for it. There's a direct to funding option, though, which is what I really like. Use my link. You get 50% off for new users. So, use my link. It's about $50 for the base one. You can also do direct to funded, which is what I did with this account that I have right now. It's only $238 with my coupon code BT, beginner trading BT on Lucid. You can use BG on everything else, on Take Profit, on Apex, BT on Lucid. Check out the link. It's pinned at the top of the chat. I also put the link up again here if you want to help support us. Here's the link right here. I appreciate the support. They're an affiliate of mine. I'm biased. I get paid by them. But genuinely useful, I think, for traders, especially new traders. Look at oil starting to surge back up. It's over the volume weighted average price. It's at 88.50s right now. 88.50s for oil. NASDAQ starting to fall back down here. I'm tempted to buy this dip on the NASDAQ. But I'm also kind of worried about buying this dip here. I think I got to wait. We are green on the day, though, so we do have a cushion. Look at oil surge to $89 a barrel. NASDAQ giving back some of the gains here. Yeah, you can use TradingView on it. You can use Quant Tower. You can use Rhythmic. You can use Trade-Evade. You select it when you buy the account, which one you want to use. Microsoft's still fading, though. NASDAQ's starting to come back down. We just pulled back to 25,000 in the 200 exponential here. Here's 25,000. Here's the 200 EMA. All right, so we're going to get to the point where we can start trading here. We are green on the day. Kind of heading into this little slump here, though, so. Tempted to buy this dip, the NASDAQ. I'll try it. We're going to buy a little bit here. It's kind of close to that. We're trying to scalp this move. There we go. All right, we took half off. We'll give it a second on the rest, maybe add back to it. All right, we're back to green. I'm trying to give it time, but it's kind of whippy right now. There we go. All right, we're out. NASDAQ, we got the little mini pullback here at 25,000. I still gotta wait, though. We have the opening range, so we're gonna scalp until we get an opening range break. The opening range is about right here. Show you guys, this is the opening range right now on the NASDAQ. So we're gonna look for that opening range to break after it forms. I'm gonna look for a 10-minute opening range. It's just a 5-minute. Bitcoin's fallen all the way back down. Look at Bitcoin fade this morning after the opening bell. Bitcoin down to 70,000 here, 70K. Eesh, not looking good here, guys. Yeah, Bitcoin flushing down. Nova says, welcomes further dialogue with FDA to continue to take measures to address observations. This is expected to impact production or guidance. Not expected to impact production or guidance. Outside of that, we don't really have any news here. The market's kind of sideways. So we're going to look for this opening range here. But outside of that, I think I just have to be patient and just chill and wait. Meta has bought AI agent social network Maltbook, according to Axios. Ally CFO says consumer spending continues to be resilient. Delinquency rates continue to be favorable. BYD, which is a Chinese EV company, is exploring entry into Formula One and other auto racing series, apparently. All right, so we're sitting tight. We're still in this opening range here. We're about 7.5 minutes into the day. So we got to wait. Again, it's CPI day tomorrow, so maybe we're going to have sideways action today. It's very possible. Elon Musk says X Money early public access will launch next month. Existing home sales drops in 23 minutes at 10 o'clock. We do get existing home sales in about 23 minutes. We'll cover it when it goes live, but all right, so we're starting to bounce right at 25,000 here. If we get over 2540, my bias is going to be bullish, but I have to wait for some stabilization there. PayPal provides 26 guidance at a presentation. Transaction marginal dollar growth expected to be slightly negative overall, apparently. All right, we're still waiting, but Bitcoin knows more, I think. Yeah, looking at Bitcoin here, guys. Bitcoin fading down under 67 or under 70. Bitcoin has had a bunch of red candles in a row now, and it's continuing to fall for Bitcoin. So back under 70. Yeah, we're kind of flat. Oil's falling down. Nvidia's slightly green on the day, but not big movement here. Heading into existing home sales in about 20 minutes. Sideways, very choppy range ahead of CPI. Yeah, we got a little bit of a bounce, but it's not crazy. Again, we're looking for this orb over 2580s or under the VWAP 200 exponential, under really like 974 with a retest here. I might short 25,000 if it breaks underneath it, but I have to wait here. Kind of a choppy range here. I'm not trying to get stuck in anything like this if I can avoid it. Yeah, Bitcoin, again, look at it. It's over 70,000 again, though. So we're waiting for the orb to break on the NASDAQ. Bitcoin is over 70,000. John, what's your left chart? My left chart is oil. It's oil futures. Yeah, it's oil futures. Yeah, we do have existing home sales in about 18 minutes here, Chad. It's not a big release, but it's something. We'll cover it. It's something. All right, so the NASDAQ just cracked the bottom of this range here that we're still waiting for it to break. So we broke under this range. We'll see if it holds now, but yeah, I mean, we broke the bottom. If we get a little bounce up to 990s, I might short it, but I do have to wait here. It's not necessarily high edge, I think, right now. Like, I'll show you guys the trade. Again, we're up a little bit in this account, but here's the orb. Let me see if I can draw a box around this. Yeah, here's the orb originally. So we did just retest it. I'll short another bounce up here though if we get it. Okay, there's the bounce. We're gonna add to this as it heads higher here, and then hold. All right, so we're in 3 contracts here. We got a big cushion on the day already. So I don't want to get faked out though, and it looks like I kind of am here with a huge fake out candle. Yeah, I gotta cut this. Man, what a fake out candle here, dude. Yikes, just eating my profit on the day. We did have the Japanese industry minister say Japan discussed the energy situation and potential oil reserves with G7 energy ministers. But man, what a fake out candle. We bounced right there at the previous close. We got a little bit deeper of a range here, though. We can look at the 15-minute orb now, I guess. Yeah, I'm not red on the day, but it's not a deep red. Looks like buyers are getting stubborn here. Looks like we want to push up, but I don't think it's necessarily easy edge here. Yeah, super choppy, kind of star formation. Not easy. There we go, we got a little bit of a rip up. All right, we just jumped in another contract here. We're up about 60. I'm gonna take some off. See if we can add some more to this. We're out. We're basically back to where we were. I bought the dip at the 200 exponential. You can see right here, and we're popping up. I'm gonna cut that right there. So yeah, we're basically up where we were. Existing hope sales in 13 minutes. CPI is relevant. It's not old data. This is not delayed data for CPI. It's last month's February data here. So it's not old data like we've seen over the last few months. It's February data. It's relevant. It's going to see what we're looking like before the oil shocks hit the market in terms of inflation is what this report's going to show us. So we're getting back to the top of the range maybe here, but Yikes, dude. What is causing this drop? Something just pulled the market back heavy here. We're right at 25K though. Look at that shock hit the market here. I don't know what this was, but man. Another bounce right at the... I've been kind of scalping this move back and forth here. We're now more green on the day. Maybe I'll add to it. But it's kind of whippy right now. I think it's difficult to attack. Like, we're green another trade. I'm going to take 2 contracts now and see if it gives it more time to rip. It is. There we go. Take that off. We're going to cut the rest right there. We're just attacking a range. Up small on the day. You guys red or green so far today? I'm gonna cover the existing home sales and then cut out of here. It's kind of boring in terms of markets right now. Still sideways. We still have that orb maybe we can watch for, but might just be time to relax ahead of CPI. We're starting to push towards the top. Freaking ads here. Which is not too small. Bad things happen with his B plays? I don't think so. Good things happen, dude. Good things happen with his B plays. Yeah, I don't know what to do with this here, chat. We're waiting for the data here, but it's kind of boring right now. Yeah, I believe we're going to have good things happen. All right, NASDAQ is down here. Let's watch 25,000 here. We do have this range, though. I think we got to look at all of it. Right here is the range. All right, I'm looking green, green. Most people are green, it looks like. 8:30 Eastern Standard Time is when the data shows up tomorrow. If you're wondering about CPI inflation, it's 8:30 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Green, we'll see how long that lasts. I'm green as well, but it's hard not to trade this chop, to be honest, is what I'm showing here. And so we will see what we get. I'm going to cover existing home sales just to cover it because it comes out in, what, 5 minutes? So we'll cover this, but outside of that, it's kind of boring here. Made 1,000 in one account, lost 1,000 in the other. Hey, flat is better than red, sir. So flat is better than red. Could be worse, to be honest. I don't think existing home sales are going to move the market either, but the NASDAQ just dumped under 25,000 here. We're under 25,000. I will jump in a short. I guess I'll try here. We are starting to break under this opening range now. Here's the opening range. I'm watching the 200 exponential VWAP breakdown though. All right, we're starting to flush down towards the bottom here. Yeah, basically what's going on is like everything's kind of flat ahead of CPI, but it could end soon comments from the president yesterday. Still keeping oil down versus where it was yesterday, and again, indexes, stocks are doing okay. Crypto's holding over 70,000, at least it's trying to as well here. So existing home sales supposed to release. It's expected at 3.89 million for existing home sales. NASDAQ's finally starting to test the bottom of this big, long 30-minute range here. All right, here's the test of it. All right, we broke down underneath it here, so we're going to look for a breakdown and then a bounce back is what we're looking for. Although it could be a little bit riskier of a strategy ahead of CPI today, to be honest. Existing home sales in 2.5 minutes. All right, here we go, 2.5 minutes. We are getting a bounce back up after a break, but it's such a small break here. And the last time I tried this, I got faked out. So I'm gonna wait. I need a larger bounce here. We're green on the day. I don't want to give it back that easy. Also, ahead of this data release, remember Apex is 85% off sale. Ends tonight, I believe. So it ends tonight. So if you haven't already, check out Apex. Their sale ends tonight. Cheapest accounts in the game, I think. Less than $30 for the base one, so pretty cheap if you use my coupon code BT. Check them out. Or BG, whichever one you want. There's the link right there in the chat. We did break down under the bottom of this range, and we have 1 minute left until existing home sales and before I cut on out of here. All right, NASDAQ still falling here. We're at 950s. Maybe I should have shorted the rebound bounce. Hey, nice Sublime. Thank you, sir. Yeah, you can see the link for Apex right there if you want to check them out, too. All right, here we go. 20 seconds left, chat. 20 seconds left. We are expected at 3.89 million for existing home sales. It's coming out in 10 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up. It's a small report, though. Probably not going to move things unless it comes out widely over or under. 3.89 is expected. It ended up showing up at 4.09 million. Stronger than expected existing home sales. 4.09 million for February versus 3.89 expected. 3.9 expected. 4.09. So higher than expected is existing home sales. NASDAQ is chopping a little bit on this report, but yeah, we'll see. The orb breakdown is still continuing here. Look at this. We're still breaking here. Look at this drop. I'll try to short and bounce here, I guess. Although I was going to end it. All right, guys. CPI inflation tomorrow. I'm just going to close this down, to be honest. I'm going to step away. I'm already green on the day. But existing home sales data, 4.09 million. 1.7% increase month over month for February. I'm going to cut out of here, guys. Y'all be safe. Again, tomorrow, CPI inflation. Be here at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We cover the data faster than everybody else, unless it's ADP data. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and be ready tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We got really weak jobs report on Friday last week. We have PCE inflation later this week, but the big report this week, don't get it twisted, is CPI inflation data. Tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Y'all be good. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be safe. Market could be choppy today. Y'all be good.